to approve the expenditure of $4,800 for an additional leaf collection box to improve the efficiency of our leaf collection operations, to make this a full-time operation instead of a part-time operation.
I'll make that motion.
There's been a motion. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. That concludes my report.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on next to the engineers. Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under my report, the board has a copy of my report for August. Just highlighting on the development side of things, the Overlook Phase 1 plan, there's still work ongoing out there. They've had some issues with erosion and sedimentation control. We've issued some correction notices to them as the county conservation district, and they're addressing those. They're also working up there on Anger Road, as we discussed. They've completed the clearing work. They're working on the storm sewer, which is anticipated to take 2 to 3 weeks, followed by the widening, the grading, and paving. With regards to the South Point Holiday Inn Hotel, that work is done. That's on the agenda for a final bond release tonight. With respect to Timber Run Phases 3 and 4, had a meeting out there with Joe DiNardo last month. He is wanting to put the final wearing course on both of those roads this fall. So we reviewed some of the issues out there to that, and he will be having T.A. Robinson do that work as we move into September here.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Dan, but on that final wearing course, is that where the speed bumps are going to be involved too?
Thank you for that. The speed bump will go in. We're determining a location on that. They will do that. They'll notch that in after they put down finish the road, put the final wearing course down. They'll come back, notch that in, and then put it in sort of after the fact.
Okay, but that's all worked out.
PennDOT specs, signs, paving, yeah, all PennDOT spec.
Dan?
Yes.
I have a question. I thought it was a great idea when I first heard about it, but then I read a little bit about speed bumps and learned of the problems associated with them and what it does to our equipment during the winter time, and snow removal, and it slows down school buses and emergency vehicles.
Well, I think that this was sort of, the board had decided on this one, if I recall, when it was approved. It was sort of a pilot to see how it would go in the township. I'm familiar with them in other places. I'm not familiar that they cause any major issues with, if they're put in according to PennDOT specifications, they will not damage equipment. They are an inconvenience that people have to slow down to go to the top of them, but that's what they're designed for.
And where's this going?
This would be in the Timber Run plant,
okay,
on Timber Run Drive on the long stretch which goes up to Profio. There's a long stretch between Phase 4 and Phase 2 that comes down to the corner. Windance, I'm sorry.
It's on Windance?
It would be on Windance,
Is this something that the homeowners association wants?
They don't have a choice. It's what the board approved. It's our road. It's not a homeowners association decision.
Who brought it up?
This was brought up back.
If I remember, it was a board member. He's not looking at me.
It was brought up whenever the plans were first being
Yes,
set.
it was when the plans
How
were.
many speed bumps were there? 2?
Just one.
Just one.
It was its decision
So
to.
halfway between Profio and coming down that.
Yes.
It makes it-
Yes.
And just for clarification, this is something that was approved years ago?
Yes. I mean, the board doesn't want to put it in. I mean, it's your prerogative. I'm sure the developer would not go to the expense.
As a public works director, I would prefer that they not be put in for plowing purposes. I'm just not a fan of those speed bumps. I've dealt with them before, and usually what happens is they start to abrade right there at the toe of the ramp, and they become a maintenance issue. We're a plow down operation, and when you get that, you start to chip away at that ramp in the front, and then the next thing you know, the thing starts to unravel on you. So if
you don't have to say so.
yes.
Sorry.
I know, I've had a couple residents that ask about them going in, and they felt that they should be in there. So, can we work around it, Bill?
Well, I mean,
That's what I'm saying. I think it'd be a good idea.
Work into and over.
Exactly.
So that's what
We'll have to slow down.
work wrong, we have to go in New York.
But you'll be doing what they're supposed to do too, the snowplow be slowing down.
That's part of the plan.
Exactly.
We couldn't change that.
I don't know that you could.
Can it be taken off if it's determined that it's causing a problem?
They can be pulled out. They find out that they're called.
There's any one.
Oh, it's just.
Or if, whatever.
If there's a call, it's something like you said,
Are they not illegal in some municipalities?
No, they're legal. PennDOT recognizes them and has a standard for them.
There's a way to slow traffic. I think we could try this one and see how it works. And it'll let us know if it can be used in other places, whether it's a bad idea.
One question we have, why can't they do it, get a rule with the top paving?
The paver prefers to come back and notch it in as a part of the operation. I mean, the base and the binder are already down now. He's only putting the final wearing portion on. They come back and they notch it in, and then they'll put binder and top down, tack it. And, I mean, I've seen the same application been done before on 2 speed humps. It was the same thing. This year on the municipality, the same thing. They put them in after the fact.
The concern would be whether you have fall in both directions and not traffic law.
That's correct. And you have to leave a gap on the sides for the water to flow together. T.A. Robinson was out there when we looked at it, and that's his preference, and that's my experience with the way other people put them in. Continue on with my
I
report.
got a question.
Andy's call.
Bill?
I've seen the speed bumps where they're put in with bags, they're made of hard rubber. Is that something maybe you guys can look into, is for the winter you can remove them?
I know what you're talking about. I don't think that's approved for use in Pennsylvania. Like South Carolina or some of the southern states, they use those type of.
Is it worthwhile checking into though?
Well, the issue, I'm familiar with those. They're used on a temporary basis. They don't comply with final PennDOT regulations. The people use them to test the speed hump in an area before they go ahead and put it in a
Permanent solution.
Well, what it does is it gauges the traffic when people are running counts to see if the speed hump does anything to change the traffic patterns. They put them in temporarily, then remove them and make the final decision.
Is this a
I think
state
we go
road
ahead
or
and
a
go.
township road?
It's a township.
Oh, it's a township road.
Okay. Go ahead, Dan.
Continue on with my report. Under the miscellaneous items, that's it for development stuff. Under miscellaneous items, Klinger Park, the contractor for the reserve continues to do the work up there, and I know we're going to talk about that in executive session tonight. Then I guess we'll also talk about the storm sewer situation up there near the Durbins and the Morgans tonight in executive session. And then on to the pavement projects. There is a payment for Victor Paving for work completed on Burnside Road. They have restoration work yet to be done, and then the project will be finalized, but we still have a current application for its due. We're still holding additional monies, but there's a current payment due tonight. And then, of course, we're waiting on Youngblood to finish up Anger Road. Once we're ready for that project, we'll talk to them about Windsor Road now that the money's in and the rules approved that. With regards to the O'Hara Road signal base plan, PennDOT came back to us to ask for some additional information that has been submitted to them. Elizabeth, I asked them when they could get that plan done. Basically, their answer was they have people out in the field right now doing a lot of construction stuff. They'll get the work done as they can when people come into the office. So it could be, it could be a month, it could be a couple months before they finish that plan. So that it's in their hands now, ready to be done. And then Coleman Road, I'll report on later on in the agenda. That's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Okay, Dan, thank you. Next, the solicitor's report, John.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple of items I think the engineer already previewed. We're going to discuss those in executive session. I provided the board with a report just to bring up to speed.